one of the worst spots you can be. It's that rain snow line, and Nashville has found itself in the middle of it. Interesting perspective here. This is the Fox Weather Beast right there that I'm circling. The Fox Weather Beast out in Nashville, not sure who's driving it, but thank you, team. The thing about Tennessee, too, and the DOT mentioned this, the communications officer for the DOT, that it's not just the freezing rain, it's also a slush on the ground and maybe even a little bit of sleet.
Yeah.
So all that's mixing together and you can see that accumulation. But here, the roads just look wet. They could be icy.
It's so true. That pre-treatment, when you're dealing with the temperature of 32, 33 degrees, that pre-treatment goes a long way as long as it's not getting washed off. But we've certainly seen, you can see it on the left side, a lot of moisture just pumping into Middle Tennessee. And you look at, I checked in at the airport where the airport's reporting a temperature of 34 degrees. So that's good that we're barely above freezing. But the temperature is not uniform. It's not uniform in the atmosphere. It's not uniform where we live here on the surface. You can have those valleys, areas just low-lying that are below freezing. That's where you're seeing the ice accrete.
And look at the accretion out of Brentwood, Tennessee at 3/4 of an inch. The other spot we had 3/4 of an inch, that was out of northern Louisiana, right?
You're right.
I think that was also reported earlier this morning. And this is where we have some of the worst outages. But all of these totals, even into Virginia, you're noticing at least half an inch. So outages, as well as just very dangerous to be outside, whether you're walking or walking around maybe your house to check infrastructure, please be careful. These branches could snap at any time. That's a look at the outages. Over 278,000 customers currently without power. That includes Nashville. And we've seen that spike.
Johnson and Davidson counties, those two counties, Davidson is where Nashville sits, but you have a high population density there. And that's why we've seen just within the past hour, those numbers skyrocket because we've had the ice accrete and tree limbs can easily fall down. Power lines too can take that significant, load and also weigh them down to where it's too much that it, starts to crack. So we're paying attention to it. Fox Weather, we're your Winter Storm HQ. We got coverage 24/7 throughout the strongest winter storm of our season so far. We're streaming live on all your favorite platforms this winter storm. Just beginning to crank, too, for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, eventually New England. Much more Fox Weather after the break.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
It's time to take control of your health naturally. Meet the organic testosterone blend from Full Leaf Tea Company for only $50.
sanitation trucks do their job. And if you're walking out there, once that icy mix comes down, you got to really be careful.
Exactly. Yeah, we recommend, of course.
Yes.
You know, we've seen snow like this many times before, but it's been a while. So, Roger, back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guy. All right, let's check in now with Cheryl Wills to see what's happening this week on In Focus.
New leadership in the city council is taking shape, and on Sundays in Focus, Deputy Speaker Natasha Williams talks about the council's plans and priorities for 2026. Here's a preview.
I certainly want to make sure that I am supporting the agenda of Speaker Menon, but in that agenda, so many bold ideas around supporting our homeowners. That's important to me. I'm wanting to make sure that our legislative strategy makes sense, that it's accountable to the people. Budget equity is something that's really important to me, and wanting to work with our finance chair, Linda Lee, to make sure that we are truly a council that's responsive to the people.
We invite you to watch or DVR In Focus on Sunday morning at 10:30. Catch the replay at 3:30 p.m.
Well, that does it for this half hour of news. We'll have more on your top stories, plus another look at the latest on our winter weather when Weekends on One continues.
My father was a New York City firefighter. My mission, like his, is to serve New Yorkers in a city that doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Being with New York One since the beginning, I'm now honored to join you even earlier each weeknight. Starting at 8 with New York Tonight, we'll explore the latest news developments, followed by New York One at 10 to wrap up your day. So join me each weeknight starting at 8 right here on New York One.
Your entertainment the way you want it. With Spectrum TV, all these streaming apps are included at no extra cost. So you can watch anything.
Hey, brother. Be careful.
Movies. I've got this condition.
You're a superhero.
No. Series.
There's another murder in the building.
Sports. Reality.
Here's to a summer you'll never forget.
News.
Here's a look at today's top story.
Exclusive originals.
You await your orders.
Even more of your favorites with live TV.
Welcome into First Take.
Stream across your devices and watch anywhere. At home or out and about. It's the entertainment experience you've been waiting for. Streaming apps included at no extra cost.
What you got there, pal? Get a good look.
With live TV and on demand. All together, all in one place for you to enjoy.
It's whatever kind of adventure we want it to be.
Get it all with Spectrum TV.
We have so many ways to stay connected. A single touch can bring us closer to the families we love, the friends we know, and the city we share. And Spectrum helps us keep connected, including more ways to watch New York One as a Spectrum Internet customer. Watch Spectrum Use New York One on the Spectrum Muse app, available on all your favorite devices.
It's 10 o'clock. 1-800-GOT-JUNK for home or office. We make junk disappear.
I'm Roger Clark with a New York 1 Minute. The first major snowstorm of the year is here. Mayor Mamdani says the city is prepared to deal with heavy snow and extreme cold. 2,000 sanitation workers will be on the job today, and a fleet of around 3,000 plows and salt spreaders are set for deployment. The MTA says its buses and subways will run with usual weekend service. Chains have been put on the tires of all MTA buses, and de-icing trains have been mobilized to keep tracks clear. Another impact of the snowstorm, early voting for several special elections is suspended both today and tomorrow. Additional time for early voting will be announced to make up for the hours lost during the storm. And it's official, elementary and middle school students in city schools will be learning remotely tomorrow. City high schools had a previously scheduled day off. Great to be with you on this Sunday morning. Welcome to Weekends on One. I'm Roger Clark, in for the great Rocco Fertuccio, who's getting a much needed and well-deserved break. We'll get to all of today's top stories in a minute, but first, let's get to the news of the day, and that, of course, is the forecast as you look out there at 96th and Broadway on the Upper West Side. And meteorologist Guy Brown is here, of course, with the latest. And yeah, it got started right around the time you said it was.
Yeah, things are on track, so that's good news. Hopefully, I just had a moment to step out. Small flakes piling up fast. You have some slippery spots out there already. So winter storm warning will remain until tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures today only go to the low 20s. Warm air will move in up top, aloft. So we're going to find some freezing rain, some sleet even possible as we get into the afternoon hours. That's going to fall right on top of this snowpack. 6 to 8 plus inches of snow. Most will be in that range there, 6 to 8, but can't rule out some neighborhoods, especially up in the Bronx. As well, northern Queens, that could get upward a little bit, slightly higher than 8 inches. So we'll keep you updated, and I'll have future track here coming up.
All right, thanks a lot, Guy. We've got a snowstorm underway. You probably noticed all across the city. And here is a look at Atlantic Avenue this morning. Our photographer Sung shooting this great video over by Barclays Center. And you can see the snow clearly accumulating on those sidewalks and snowplows out on the streets. Some New Yorkers may prefer to be inside on a day like today, but of course not our hardworking videographers. They're out there. They're reporting it. They're doing it. They're outside helping us track this storm with our viewers. We thank them. Also spending time outside today is our own Olivia Leach, who's with the mighty Phil O'Driscoll, your videographer, right? Who's one of the great ones for a while now at Columbus Circle. Perfect spot, Central Park behind you, looks gorgeous. What's happening?
Well, it looks pretty out here, Roger, but the conditions are getting a little bit harder to withstand. It's harder to stay out longer when we think about the cold, when we think about the snow that's kind of hitting us directly in the face because it is coming down sideways out here. But in the last couple hours, really the city has woken up, and it's something about New Yorkers. I think we can't stay inside for too long. And so really now there's been hundreds of people that have been walking into the park over the last few hours, we've noticed here. But I wanted to give you a sense of just how cold it is out here. We have our thermometer again. I'm going to test the air temperature right now. It's saying -2 degrees Fahrenheit in the air. And so that's why so many people are bundled up out here. We're bundled up, and everyone else out here bundled up as well. I'm going to step aside so you can see a little bit of what it looks like here in the park. It's absolutely picturesque, just like a postcard that you've seen or a magazine cover of a beautiful Central Park snowy day. And people are just heading into the park in droves, not just dog walkers, people on foot as well. And we've also seen a lot of plow trucks, sanitation trucks making their way through Columbus Circle and Central Park South, really making sure they're keeping the roads as clear as possible. There have been a good number of cars and, of course, buses who are still out on the roads, buses still moving through the city, getting people to work and where they need to be. Now, we also spoke to 2 New Yorkers who have to be out in these conditions today no matter what. One man who's providing support for runners who are participating in the Ted Corbett 50K run. They're running in these brutal conditions today, and they're supporting them with tea and soup and all kinds of warm things. And also a woman we caught who was rushing from the subway to her job. She works at a nearby hotel. Here's what they had to say about the cold today.
Right now we have about 13 runners, 2 women, 11 men who are out here racing this horrible weather. It's that idea of just pushing the limits just a little, right? You want to push yourself just over that curve.
I left the house an hour early than normal because the trains are running local. If you don't have to go out work, you just stay home. It's cold, the floors are slippery, it's just not worth it.
And we know some people, like that woman we spoke to, have to be out in these conditions. It's not just for fun. She's trying to get to work, but she told me she'll be staying overnight at her job to make sure she stays safe as the conditions worsen, as they're expected to in the hours ahead. She's not taking any chances, but she did advise, wear multiple layers. She's got thermals on, lots of socks, lots of gear covering her ears and her face. Really the best way to brave these conditions as it gets colder and the snow comes down more and more, Roger. And another important thing to note, if you see anyone out in these elements who needs shelter, someone who is homeless, you can call 311 and they'll be sending dispatch groups out to talk to these folks and get them to shelter if that's what they need at this time. Roger?
Olivia, great advice there. Thank you very much. And we thank you and Phil O'Driscoll for being out there, of course, as well. Mayor Zohran Mamdani says all city agencies are fully prepared to respond to the snowstorm. Early this morning, he spent time greeting workers at a sanitation garage in Williamsburg. And there's some of the more than 2,000 workers who have been mobilized for 12-hour snow removal shifts today. They'll be operating a fleet of 700 salt spreaders and 2,300 plow vehicles. Now, at a briefing in Manhattan yesterday, the mayor said the city is fully equipped to handle the snow.
Every agency is working in lockstep with the other. We are thoroughly equipped and we are ready for whatever winter weather comes this Sunday. We are ready for this storm together, and together, New York, we are going to get through this. Stay warm, stay prepared, stay safe.
And the mayor says a hazardous travel advisory will be in effect today and Monday and urges New Yorkers to only travel if necessary. Well, subways and buses will be running today come hell or high water. Can I say that? That's right. The message from transit officials here in the city, and that's the one they've been sending for today's snowstorm. MTA Chair John O'Leary spent part of his day yesterday at the Flatbush Bus Depot in Brooklyn, where workers have been installing chains on the tires of every bus in the MTA fleet. There will also be no articulated buses running today. You know, those are the really long ones, only the standard 40-foot buses. To keep subways moving, the MTA is rolling out its de-icing trains, which are designed to keep tracks from getting slippery on the above-ground portions of the system. Previously scheduled track work on the 4 and 5 trains have now been postponed, and a normal schedule of weekend service will be running. Now, the Long Island Railroad, Metro North, they'll be running with modified schedules to accommodate snow removal. Now, it's a different story across the Hudson, where New Jersey Transit has suspended all bus and light rail service as of 4 o'clock this morning. New Jersey Transit will also suspend train service. That's starting at 2 p.m. today. Back in the 5 boroughs, City Bike will be temporarily shutting down beginning at noon today. It's not clear when people will be able to ride again, but our cameras did capture this person riding during the storm last month. Well, as the snow falls from the sky, the mayor's office says public schools will be remote tomorrow. Students at city high schools already have Monday off for Professional Development Day. The mayor and schools chancellors say elementary and middle schools will have a remote learning day. A traditional snow day was not considered an option. The storm is disrupting a lot of things, including early voting. Early voting will be suspended today and tomorrow for several special elections in the city. Governor Kathy Hochul said the Board of Elections will announce additional early voting times to make up for the hours lost during the storm. As for the races, voters in Queens will decide who will fill Mayor Mamdani's former state assembly seat. That's District 36. Another race will fill the state Senate seat vacated by new Manhattan Borough President Brett Holman Siegel. And in the 74th Assembly District, a third contest underway to fill the Manhattan seat left open by Harvey Epstein. Early voting will continue through February 1st, election on February 3rd. And stay with New York One for complete coverage of the snowstorm. You see it there in Greenpoint. We'll have the latest on how it's impacting the city, plus the latest forecast. Of course, you could watch on cable or stream us on our website. That's ny1.com, or of course, on the Spectrum News app.
After 30 years of forecasting for New York, I've learned it takes a dedicated team to cover all the weather our city has to offer. As chief meteorologist at New York One, I'm honored to be able to help New Yorkers plan their day.
Morning, noon, or night, our team is here to bring you accurate forecasts you can count on, from severe weather updates to our weather on the ones. Watch the New York One weather experts with your weather on the ones on your TV and on the go with the Spectrum News app.
Spectrum TV, isn't that only live TV?
No, it's only all my favorite streaming apps with live TV.
Okay.
It's only all included at no extra cost. And that's the magic of math. Will this be on the test? Sure. Why not?
It's only one simple payment for all our TV. We gotta simplify and win. Winning is equally important.
If not, more so.
Only Spectrum TV, fixed TV.
I'm Sandra, this is Jorge, and we were adopted in 2019. I remember when they first came to us, Michael was already a teenager. The whole cliche of they're so lucky to have you guys, and it's the other way around. They have changed our family for the better. They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org. My father was a New York City firefighter. My mission, like his, is to serve New Yorkers in a city that doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Being with New York One since the beginning, I'm now honored to join you even earlier each weeknight. Starting at 8 with New York Tonight, we'll explore the latest news developments, followed by New York One at 10 to wrap up your day. So join me each weeknight starting at 8 right here on New York One.
Here's your Weather on the One's forecast. Winter storm warnings remain, which will expire tomorrow afternoon. So we're still going to see residual impacts from this as we get into your Monday. Some snow-covered roads and streets, and then some areas with patchy ice, especially after this wintry mix moves in this afternoon. So your winter storm warning, again, remains, and then 6 to 8+ inches. Again, you can get those embedded 9 inches here in the 5 boroughs. And then some of our friends nearby in New Jersey, you're talking about upward to 10 inches. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some locally higher amounts. Here's your future model. You can follow along with me. Those darker blue colors indicate the heavy snow. The heavy stuff comes down late during the morning and then after afternoon hours, early afternoon. But notice once we get to about 4 p.m., now this changes over to a wintry mix. You can see the pink here on our future model showing you it's possible we can see some sleet, some freezing rain. And then behind it here, notice we get some dry air pushing in. This is 11 p.m. tonight. Dry air funnels up, and then that next round of light snow, which really doesn't accumulate much as you get into early hours Monday morning. So stick with us. We're going to have updates on the winter storm every 10 minutes.
Tensions are boiling over in Minneapolis, a fatal shooting involving federal agents for the second time this month. DHS says the man they shot was armed and officers were defending themselves. He's been identified as Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA, lawful gun owner who had a permit to carry. We want to warn you, some of the following images are disturbing. Our Chris Welsh has the latest.
Too much, man. Another fatal shooting prompting another round of social media videos and another incident now at the center of a dispute between local officials and Homeland Security. In one angle, you see several agents pulling a man, 37-year-old Alex Preddy, away from the curb and into the street. They wrestle him to the ground. Several seconds later, one gunshot, followed by several more, many of which were fired after his body appears to go motionless. In another angle, we get a bit more context of what happened in the moments before. Protesters are blowing whistles, then someone who appears to be a federal officer shoves a protester to the ground. A man we now know to be Preddy is being sprayed in the face before he walks toward the person on the ground. He's then dragged off that person and pulled to the street. Several seconds go by, then you see one agent appear to pull out a gun, aim it at Preddy, then a gunshot. Amidst what sound like at least 9 shots more. Homeland Security officials say Preddy had a firearm, and they released this photo of what they said was his weapon. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says Preddy is a U.S. citizen.
The only interaction that we are aware of with law enforcement has been for traffic tickets, and we believe he is a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry.
an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem addressing the incident Saturday evening.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
I've seen the videos from several angles, and it's sickening.
Governor Tim Walz, who spoke to White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles Saturday, said he offered this message.
Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period.
Chris Welch, New York 1.
Officials here in New York reacting to that fatal shooting by federal immigration agents. Mayor Zohran Mamdani said yesterday afternoon on social media, quote, ICE terrorizes our cities. ICE puts us in danger. Mamdani also again called for abolishing ICE after doing so earlier this week on ABC's The View. Congressman Adriano Espaillat spoke to New York 1 yesterday, echoing Mamdani's statements.
This is just an agency that has become a violent and deadly weapon. ICE should be dismantled. And Border Patrol, which is also involved in violent behavior, should also be looked at and potentially dismantled.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called for Senate Democrats to block funding for the Department of Homeland Security and the bill that the Senate is considering. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats will not be voting for additional funding for DHS. Meanwhile, New Yorkers also gathered in Union Square yesterday, protesting the shooting. There have been several such rallies in the city in recent weeks as ICE has stepped up enforcement operations in Minnesota and around the country. Still ahead, yesterday's win for St. John's. It wasn't just their 6th in a row, but also a huge milestone win for Coach Rick Pitino. We'll tell you all about it when we come back.
Spoke. The college called classes. They canceled classes for Monday, if I understood that correctly. Now with the power being such a problem, do you have any insight into what's going to be happening there at Ole Miss?
I don't. It will depend on when we can restore power to different buildings, obviously. You know, we are really just asking people to shelter in place right now. We've got power lines down that, you know, we're encouraging people to assume that every line that you see that's down is live. So right now, our number one goal is how do we keep people safe? How do we get roads cleared for emergency vehicles? How do we keep people warm? And, you know, then restoration will begin, but we've got some steps before we can even get there.
Yeah, we're looking at the future radar to your left and still that risk for some freezing precip even as we get further into the morning. And then it's just about the cold. So best of luck to you and to your community.
Thank you.
You mentioned you're still in the assessment. So really driving home, we're still in it. And we still have a long way to go. But best of luck. Stay safe. Stay warm. Mayor of Oxford, Mississippi, Robin Tannehill, thank you.
We want to head elsewhere now where this winter storm is not being kind. Augusta, Georgia, you see what we're dealing with there. Athens, Georgia as well. The Carolinas
also dealing with some significant icing. Fox News reporter Oliviana Calmes is joining us from Charlotte. And Oliviana, when we're dealing with the type of precip that this storm has featured in the Carolinas, it truly is a mixed bag. A little bit of snow, but in large part, it's been sleet.
Yeah, Stephen, Marissa, it's an interesting wintry mix here. The ice is the big story here in the Carolinas, and we have been seeing that mix you talked about with the rain and the sleet today. It was just giving freezing rain just now, and we have sleet on the ground, so it's really crunchy, this snow mix with the sleet here, those little pellets. So were kind of hitting my face just a few minutes ago, but there is a pretty small accumulation of that snow and sleet over here, but it's still coming down lightly at the moment. But that crunchy layer is starting to settle with that freezing rain. If you look over here, just to show you how crunchy that is, that whole layer of just freezing rain that is just crunching off of just the plants and the grass here. And we know that as more accumulation we get of that, the more weighty that is on power lines, on trees, which is a huge concern here. The officials here are asking people to stay off the roads. Thankfully, we haven't seen a whole lot. There's one right there, but there haven't been many people over here. Now, I did see a couple of people braving the cold this morning to do a walk with their dog. I talked to one woman who wanted to capture this event. She's from Michigan. She says this is really not what she normally sees around here.
This is not going to be typical for the Charlotte area, so I just really wanted to capture some images with actual snow instead of just a little dusting. So I'm from Michigan, so this is not uncommon for me. So I know a lot of people wouldn't be out. So yeah, I just wanted to grab some pictures and, capture is not going to happen, 5-10 years from now, who knows?
Yeah, talking about this potential historic event here. She said the stores, those shelves have been pretty empty as far as the last couple of days. People having that time to stock up on essentials, make sure they've got everything they need in their car, any generators, propane, things like that. But we're also watching the power outages here in the state, and they're climbing up. Just this morning, it was around 3,000. Now it's about 10,000 customers without power here. So that's creeping up. We're keeping an eye on that as all of this unfolds and we get more freezing rain and sleet, that wintry mix that you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I think driving home the point, even to folks in Charlotte, maybe it looks calm now, but there's still a long way to go. We got to get everything off to the east. And so still that threat for ice continuing into tonight. Oliviana, appreciate you joining us out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Oliviana Calmes, we'll see you later. See you in a little bit.
See ya.
Sometimes I forget I'm talking to somebody professional. I go, see you in a little bit, girl.
See you in a little bit.
See you in a little bit.
Yeah. Stay warm.
It's just it's a tough weather setup. It is a very dynamic system, and you encompass that ice in the forecast, and this is the result. We're watching the power outages throughout the country, but look at the red that's highlighting not just Texas and Louisiana. We've added Mississippi to that. We've added Tennessee to that. And we've seen the outages grow in states like Kentucky, Georgia, and into Virginia. A lot of this has to do with the ice. Tennessee is, in fact, leading the board because of the icing threat that is ongoing. If you look at Nashville, which is the epicenter of some of that freezing rain, you have Davidson County, where Nashville is located, with 90% of customers without power. And the thing to keep in mind is that because this is still happening, because we're still looking at that ice accretion, we are not done yet. We still have a few hours to go, more than likely, with maybe even, honestly, more than that. We're going to be dealing with the buildup that could continue. And then we have the cold weather that'll be stuck in place. So we're not getting any melting. So waiting for that melt, we have some time. We have some time. You look at some of the temperatures that are falling as a result. If you go just off to the north into Cairo, we have 14 degrees there. So temperatures will continue to fall. Memphis already at 14, Nashville at 33, so just above freezing. But again, those are going to continue to fall as we get into tonight.
I hate to say it, because we've got that Arctic air, which is knocking on the door. And the airport temperature, B&A, Nashville, is down to 32 degrees again. It was up to 34. Had a little bit of warming, and that fluctuation in temperature, that temperature makes all the difference. We know water freezes at 32. So you deal with a temperature like that at the airport. You got other areas that are probably at or a little bit below, maybe a little bit above, but we need that moisture to turn off, because that cold air
Yeah,
moving in.
we need some drier air to help eat up some of that moisture. I mean, look at the temperatures. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you're in the low teens, maybe the middle teens, but that is well below freezing. And the other thing to keep in mind is it's going to be tough for those utility crews to get out there to make those repairs. They still have to assess, as we heard from the mayor out of Oxford, Mississippi, you still have to assess the damage before you even know what to fix. So ice, Nashville, even into the neighboring suburbs, all the way down towards Murfreesboro, into Columbia, into Dixon. You'd have to go far off to the north and to the west to find some of that snow.
It resonated when the mayor of Oxford mentioned that it looks like a tornado moved through. Northern Mississippi, I mean, familiar with severe weather, and you get ice storms like this, and those branches way down. We're showing you video, I think this is from last night in Oxford, and those trees coated in just that ice. So concerning. Oh, it was after midnight. It was early this morning, and you see those transformers blowing. I mean, that's what Nashville is continuing with now, with some significant ice accretion, and it's ongoing.
0.8 of an inch of ice accretion. It is
incredible.
So heavy. Yeah, very dangerous.
Keep it here. Fox Weather is your Winter Storm HQ. We have 24/7 coverage of what's been now the strongest winter storm of the season so far, and it's going to continue to crank, especially in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
We asked women one simple question. What makes a man a gentleman?
A gentleman always pays for dinner. Always. A gentleman looks like they put in some effort. They can't have just rolled out of bed. A gentleman always holds open the door. It's just good manners. A gentleman saves himself for marriage.
These days, being a gentleman can be challenging, but smelling like one, that's easy.
Wow. Ugh, that's what a gentleman smells like, okay? Yep, that's it. What are you doing tonight? If he smells this good, he's got my attention.
Gravite. Visit trygravite.com. Use the promo code on your screen to get 25% off.
Can I keep this guy?
Trygravite.com.
All right. What's up, you guys? Welcome back. I am Bob Van Dillen. I'm reporting live right now in Greenville, South Carolina. And you can see, does it look like South Carolina? Not really, right? Look at the sleet and the freezing rain accumulation that we've had overnight last night. Now, this is the only spot that's getting that kind of stuff. We had a little bit of snow to start out the business as well. That was after midnight last night. You see the roads? We have a lot of ice on them for sure. They're clearing them off right there, the sidewalks. Four-wheel drive so far looks like you can get around. This is right here in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. So upstate of South Carolina, getting towards the escarpment of the Blue Ridge Mountains, that's where you're going to start seeing more of this freezing rain. But let's go up to the north a little bit farther to Greensboro, North Carolina. Now they're starting to see the heavy belts of snow working right through the Carolina Piedmont, ultimately ending through Virginia and in New York City right now at the moment as well. So we've got Scott Mothersbaugh. He's the Public Information Officer in Guilford County, North Carolina. Scott, thanks for joining me, sir. I appreciate it this morning. Things are starting to get a little bit on the wild side now for northern parts of North Carolina, right?
Yeah, we're seeing a situation a lot like what you're seeing down in South Carolina, but we got a fair amount of sleet overnight. There were some slick spots, but we're expecting that transition to freezing rains. So I think there's a really good chance that we might see things kind of shift a little bit throughout the day. We'll start moving around, and we may see some increasing incidents as we kind of get later in the day.
Yeah, understood. So how did this stuff start out? Did it start out as snow or did it start out as rain?
So it's actually, as a third option, it would start out as sleet. It's been sleet pretty consistently throughout, but it's been strangely kind of a dry sleet. It's a pretty nice powder at the moment, but I think that once it hits the freezing rain on top of that, we should start to get a little more interesting throughout the day.
Yeah, it is. And how do you treat something like this on the roads? Did you pre-treat the night before because you were maybe worried that maybe it was going to get washed off? What did you guys do?
Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to treating the roads, but we've had some really good help from North Carolina DOT and some of our municipal partners. I know I saw a lot of salt melt down early, and then I think there was some strategy of leaving that sleet in place to make it easier to scrape when the freezing rain hits. So I'm seeing some scraping on the roads now, but they're actually leaving somewhat of a layer so they can get under it when the freezing rain shows up.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense because this is like a winter sandwich. You started with snow, sleet, freezing rain, possibly back to sleet and snow again. You've got a winter storm warning. It goes all the way through 1 o'clock. How are we doing so far? 1 o'clock tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks around. We've made a whole lot of plans, and we've got people staying at the base so they can jump on the ambulances when they need to. But it's been an interesting logistical challenge, but things are running really smoothly so far.
Yeah, Scott, good luck to you. I know you guys are right in the heart and the teeth of it right now, and it's going to last through the rest of the morning into the early afternoon. Scott, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Marissa, Stephen, you can see what it looks like out here, Greenville, South Carolina. We still have dog walkers, no problems. It's a little chilly. Now, we got the wind chills at about minus 1 or 2 later this afternoon when you're talking about northern parts, but now you're looking at about a 23-degree temperature here. Guys.
I feel like I last saw you in Georgia. I didn't realize you had shimmied your way over to Greenville, North Carolina, but still following, I guess, the ice threat, right? That's been a problem, and people are getting out, though, in Greenville.
Yeah.
Some
yeah,
people.
No, they are. This
Yeah.
is really not that big of a problem at this point. I'm looking at it right there. The roads are clearly covered, but to me, Marissa, it looks like it's mostly sleet. If you look at it right there, we've been trying to scrape. I haven't seen anybody hit the roads yet with a plow, and it started after midnight last night. But you can see what it looks like right here. This is just plain old sleet, but we're going to get heavy freezing rain later this afternoon. That's going to be a huge problem. We're going to watch for that.
Yeah, and on top of all of that sleet, it just becomes really icy and really tough to clean. So if you're trying to shovel, that's going to be very heavy. Hey, Bob, appreciate you popping up here on Weather Command Weekend. Bob coming right out of Colorado, right into this winter storm. All right, let's continue on. We're going to take it out of South Carolina and take it into Tennessee, into Nashville,
where the ice storm has really materialized. Bob's talking about the possibility of ice. Sarah, it's realized for you.
Hey, Marissa, Stephen. Yeah, absolutely. And we gave you some of those visuals the last time we saw you. I want to give you kind of more of this up close look at what we're seeing here. Going to be very careful, but you just see the ice accretion develop on this branch. And it's such a good example of what we've seen here in Nashville and other parts of Tennessee. I mean, looking at the impacts here with the freezing rain, you know, yesterday we dealt with the snow, then turn sleet. That's absolutely an inconvenience, but what we're seeing now is more so the destructive element to it, because what's accumulating on this branch here, the accretion there, that's happening, the same story for those power lines around the area as well. And so with that, we have seen a lot of customers here in Nashville specifically without power. That number, guys, continues to jump. I believe the last time we talked to you was around 160, 170,000. And now we're nearly 200,000 people in Nashville Metro. So looking at NES there without power currently. What we're seeing here, we're in downtown Nashville, and we got the Nashville Downtown Partnership out. These folks are the heroes. I mean, they have been out with salt, with brine, along these walkways throughout the morning, just making sure these slick conditions, or at least just helping attenuate that just a little bit. And they have been out here throughout the entire morning. We've seen snowplow crews moving through as well here. And then we're panning to this tree again, an example of what we've seen with this ice accretion. And talking to these folks out here, they were telling us there are several parts of the downtown area where we're seeing a similar visual to this. So the snapping branches, the down trees, some down power lines as well from the ice that's developing. And, you know, we have felt those temperatures, guys, since we last talked to you, significantly dropped too. So getting a lot colder here, and that rain continuing here in the Nashville area. So we talked about the impacts when you're looking at widespread power outages, what this means with that ice accumulating on those wires there for the down trees as well. But then we also feel the impact, and you see the impact rather on the roadways. We've been talking with Tennessee Highway Patrol, urging folks, today is not the day to get in your car and drive. Listen.
People can travel some on snow, but ice, you just cannot maintain control of your vehicle, and that's what's scary. When responders have to get out to respond to these incidents, it puts them at danger as well as the person that's stuck. So we're going to do our best to get to everybody, but we want encouragement. If they do not have to be out, please stay home. We're monitoring all areas. A key thing we're doing is running out the main interstates and state routes, but we're looking for people that are stranded. The temperatures are bone chilling cold, and we don't want to see somebody freeze to death out here. So that's why we're trying to be as visible as we can on the interstates to look for people that are stranded.
Yeah, and just a closer look here, it just shows the weight of what we're experiencing, whether it be travel impact, just danger to infrastructure and folks, and then the lack of power too. And so we are seeing this throughout Nashville. Definitely want to be careful around these areas. We're making sure we're being mindful during this time, but we're feeling the impacts here across Nashville take shape too. A lot of folks without power. That's where those warming centers come in. I mean, we have 87 open right now throughout the state of Tennessee. We're also seeing impacts to the school system. Metro Nashville Public Schools, they won't be in class tomorrow and Tuesday. Hoping to follow those updates as we come. But we could just see the community reacting and responding to what we're experiencing right now here. We got some crews still out and about, just laying out salt and brine in this area, and just continuing to assess the damage and preventative measures as well, guys.
Yeah, but it's a bad situation in the Music City, getting even worse with that colder air moving in, because that freezing rain is going to only add to the already loaded trees, power lines, anything that is below freezing. Sarah Allegre, Fox News multimedia reporter, appreciate the update from Nashville.
And let's go ahead and just talk about what we can expect in areas even further off to the east and to the north. Look into New York City. Honestly, I was told this was a Central Park camera, but the visibility is greatly reduced because the snow intensity has picked up. We've seen the cloud base lowering throughout the morning, and New York has been dealing with some consistent snowfall. Now, out of Central Park, the latest measure, and I'm still seeing, is still from a couple of hours ago at 0.8 of an inch. I can pretty much assure you that we've surpassed that, because surrounding areas are around between 2 to 3, if not approaching 4 inches in spots around New York City. So the snow, it is falling. It'll continue to fall. It is going to be an interesting setup for cities like New York, out onto Long Island, New York, up to Connecticut. And we'll see into portions of coastal portions of New England, where we'll get some of that warmth off of the Atlantic to help interrupt that profile, and could see a mixing. You look right now at Real Color Satellite, always really impressive to see, especially as you can follow. The troughing is still coming out of the south. So right there is how the trough is somewhat organized. You can kind of follow the clouds and where that precip is at this time. At the surface, precip is variable. I was looking at Baltimore, and they're reporting ice pellets. So it's just really challenging for portions of even the Northeast this morning. Look at that fetch, not even fetch, that stretch, that length. About 1,500 miles from south to north of where we're watching that very chaotic moisture. Temperatures are chaotic as you look at the vertical levels of the atmosphere. There's a lot of places being impacted.
Wind chill in New York right now, -3. We have a temperature of 11 and a dew point of 7. And the fact that we're dealing with snow rates of 2 inches an hour is remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a type of snow that's very unique. It's not something that you often get with a winter storm, let alone with a nor'easter like this. But that Arctic air, it can do a number at the surface. But the mid-levels, they're going to be warming throughout the morning. Just within the past, I guess, 5-6 minutes, we've seen that sleet line try to nose through Washington, D.C. It's not quite to Philadelphia. Still seeing reports of all snow in Philly, but that's going to be moving in the direction of New York City throughout the afternoon. But right now, still, snow's falling fast.
Yeah, and a little windy too. Some of those gusts out of the Battery, lower Manhattan around 20 miles per hour. And we do have visibility that's been cut down, not just out of the New York, though I think that might be not correct. But still noticing a quarter-mile visibility in through portions of New York, Binghamton, Williamsport, Pittsburgh. And again, we are just in the beginning. So now it's our turn in the Northeast, but still dealing with some of that icing threat for areas further off to the west.
We are looking at that icing threat because we march toward 1 million customers throughout the country without power. And a lot of those customers living in Nashville, in Davidson County, where we have more than 150,000 alone. Fox Weather has you covered, as we've mentioned, streaming here 24/7. It's entirely free, and we're combining forces with Fox News to bring you all elements of this storm. We're back after this.
Eye bags, dark spots, wrinkles.
There's one product that can fight them all.
Only one.
Particle face cream. Particle face cream, engineered for men, made for our skin, and backed by science, and it actually works.
My eye bags before, this was me, and this is me today.
Dark spots used to be brutal. Now they're barely there.
My wrinkles were deep. Look at the difference.
I honestly didn't think a cream could do this, and it literally takes 2 minutes a day.
1 minute in the morning.
And 1 minute at night.
Super easy.
Super effective.
And compared to everything else I considered, it's actually inexpensive.
Yeah, Gus, you know it well, and we're right here. I guess you could call this the Brighton Heights section of Staten Island. We got the courthouse, the Civic Center, and of course the St. George Station behind us for the ferry. An update just for anyone who might consider traveling the waterways. The ferry system essentially shut down as of 11 o'clock this morning. We knew that was a possibility system-wide because of visibility issues. That's just what transpired as the winds have now picked up. The snow is a little heavier out here. And as you can see, the plows were just through a little while ago, but still, we're beginning to see the snow pick up to the extent that the plows roll through, and within minutes, we've got, no blacktop to see. Folks still beginning to navigate around the area right here in Staten Island with their vehicles, but the traffic is light, foot traffic almost non-existent at this point. Now, after kind of a light season last year, we are going to get pounded by this storm. The average 31-day snowfall typically peaks here in late January, and we rarely get more than a foot of snow out here. But keep in mind, there was 2016, there was 2006 when we got a ton of snow out here, over 26 inches, and back in 1947, we got over 26 inches. Those are a couple of the highlights out here, but this is going to be no storm to sneeze at unless it gives you a cold, in which case you're going to be sneezing a lot, and you're going to be sneezing for days without relief, because the temperature here in Staten Island, throughout the 5 boroughs and across the tri-state area, is not expected to exceed the freezing mark, at least for the next 10 days. This is the borough that relies so heavily on bus traffic, and as you can see, we have seen several MTA buses roll on through. They seem to be certainly relatively on time and consistent given these snowy conditions. Traveling maybe a little more slowly than normal, but we have seen a flurry of buses throughout the several locations we've been through in Staten Island. But waterway transit, that's going to be an issue, and your roll is going to be slowed no matter where you are in this borough. And I would imagine throughout every one of the 5 boroughs in the tri-state area. So far this morning, we have been in Manhattan, we've been in Queens, we've been in Brooklyn, now here in Staten Island and the Bronx. We're coming for you next to see how conditions are for folks who are living there. In the meantime, if you can, Again, it's just common sense. Stay at home and you don't have to worry about a thing. We'll keep an eye on everything outside for you. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Dave Price, thank you. Common sense, apparently in decent supply. When you think about it, we've been on the air here now for several hours. There have been no reports of any serious issues anywhere in the tri-state area. We hope that trend continues.
Yes, and the fact that this storm is happening on a Sunday,
that has got
fewer people need to be out, and so many things have been canceled. So let's hope everybody's taking the advice that we've been giving to you to stay home, watch or stream us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Make a cup of hot cocoa and a fire and call it a day. All right, well, let's check in now on Long Island with Paisy Chang. Last time we checked in with you, Paisy, you were in Comac. Are you still there? And it looks like there's a little more snow behind you now.
Yes, I'm still in Comac. Comac Road is behind me. And yeah, we have some more snow. I'm going to take a look over here. I would say maybe only about 2 inches of snow have fallen. It is still that very light, fluffy snow. So it just kind of just blows away in the wind. Not very packable. But, you know, this is the snow that has been falling for most of the day here. And like you said, we've been telling people to stay home. All the officials have been telling people to stay home, but it seems like no one's heeding the advice. There have been plenty of people getting gas. I get that. But I've also seen people come to the 7-Eleven to get 1 cup of coffee. Another guy came and got a bag of chips. Not really necessities, I would say, but I guess, you know, people feel like they've got good tires on their cars. They're going to make it through this storm. And they're just trying to test the limits of their vehicles, I would say. But people had all sorts of reasons as to why they were heading out today. And we spoke to some of them, and here's what they told us.
It's what I expected. It started out slow, and we'll see what happens later. It's like anything else. It's never the beginning, it's the end.
You have to take it slow. You know, that's it. But other than that, you just have to watch out for the young kids driving and not doing anything dumb, you know? So that's that.
That guy was funny because I asked him exactly why he was out, and he said he had to do boyfriend duties. His girlfriend was the one that was making him run errands. But basically all their stuff done early because their anticipation is that the snow is going to get worse. It is predicted that snow is going to, the pace is going to pick up 1 to 2 inches per hour, whiteout conditions, and that it is going to get significantly worse at some point, and it's going to be undrivable. And so I think a lot of people feel like they need to just go out and get whatever they need done and then hunker down for the rest of the day and at least until Monday even, because, you know, they're anticipating that schools might be closed, maybe some businesses might be closed as well. I've actually seen on social media that a lot of restaurants and some cafes even have said they're not going to be opening until Tuesday because they anticipate it's going to be so difficult to clean out from after this storm. And one of the problems we've been talking about, Jen and Gus, is that the salt mix is going to be difficult because the temperatures are going to be so cold. So salt will not be a factor at melting the ice that is left on the ground. So that's something that everyone's going to have to watch out for. We are live from Comac. Paisy Chang, Weekend Today in New York.
Yeah, Paisy, as you say, just because when the snow eventually stops, it doesn't mean it's the end of the story by any stretch. All right, Paisy, thanks very much. Live in Comac will be checking in with you. Now let's check in with Gabby Acevedo. He's been keeping an eye on the situation over in Paramus, New Jersey, keeping an eye on Route 4. Every time we come to you, Gabby, I see more and more snow.
It is. You're right. That's a great observation, Gus. And it gets more complicated. Now you see some vehicles coming, some civilian cars moving around. That's a danger because at this point, you see no blacktop on the surface of the roadway. It is the rate of the snowfall, as Violeta, Dave Price, and Rafi Miranda have been reporting. We're expecting here in Bergen County about 1 to 2 inches per hour. You can see that because even though the crews are out and about plowing the snow, still it's difficult to maintain the consistency and the safe roadway outside. So let's go to video, which shows basically what we saw minutes ago, when a convoy of plow trucks basically came passing by. We've seen that kind of action, Gus and Jen, in a 15 to 20 minute ratio. So they're moving around pretty fast. Governor Mike Sherrill declaring a state of emergency for all 21 counties across the state, expecting dangerous travel conditions. There's also the potential down the road for downed trees and power lines amid life-threatening cold. And keep in mind that this disruption to transit and daily activities will continue at least until tomorrow morning's commute. There was some concern before the storm in terms of the salt available for some municipalities across New Jersey. What they did was use brine to make up that deficit ahead of the thick of this winter storm. On that note, Bergen County officials have been telling us that they have hundreds of plow trucks and salt spreaders going around across the 120 miles of roadways that cover Bergen County, with hundreds of employees who are working around the clock. We thank them because they're operating basically on 12-hour shifts. But let's listen to some of the situations that we have encountered throughout our coverage here in Bergen County.
We're doing our best. We have plows out, we have salting vehicles out, but nevertheless, if you don't have to go out on the road, don't. We just coming into the traffic management center, we saw several accidents.
On that note, I was just speaking to a plow truck driver a few minutes ago, along with our colleague, Alexander Plasencia, our photojournalist, and he was asking us to advise drivers that obviously if you have to be outside, that means basically you're an essential worker or you have to get somewhere that it's important. So we understand that, but they're also asking if you happen to be on the road and see these plow trucks moving as convoys, as we see on Route 4, to please step to the side and let them do their job. Keep in mind also that they're plowing that snow and moving it to the sides of the road. So there's significant snow accumulation on the embankment of the highway. And also to keep in mind that you need to keep a distance at this point. You see these cars, that's a pretty good distance because there's no blacktop and it gets slicker and slicker. Very tough to break your car and put a full stop on it. So keep that in mind. But the advice, guys, is just stay indoors. Keep tabs on our coverage, and we'll keep updating you as this goes. It seems that at this point, we're hitting the thick of this snowstorm. Reporting live from Paramus, Gabby Acevedo, Weekend Today in New York.
Yeah, the roads are getting worse and worse. Gabby, thank you. Also this morning, Governor Ned Lamont among those urging people, yes, to stay off the road as the storm moves through Connecticut.
Weekend Today in New York's Jessica Cunnington continues our team coverage now with a look at the situation from Darien. Jessica, good morning to you. We see the flakes flying, and it looks like there's some wind picking up there, too, from the angle they're coming in at.
I was just going to say, you could probably see it or see me trying to get away from it. But yeah, in the last 30 minutes or so, the winds have really picked up here. We are in Darien, right at a service area right off 95. So we've been watching the cars slowly drive by, and also the plows move through 95. I'll give you a look at some video of Governor Ned Lamont earlier this morning as crews with the Department of Transportation here in Connecticut headed out for a second shift. They started at 4:30 a.m. and he met them right before they headed out for their 8:30 a.m. shift. Just meeting with them, giving them some coffee and thank you, and head out there and be safe today because they're going to be all across the roadways. And of course, the major ones, 95, like I mentioned, 84, also the Merritt, which we know is hilly. So that's always a little bit more of a problem area where they want to make sure that that's going to be okay, especially going into tomorrow. But I came up here from Yonkers and we saw, multiple aftermaths of crashes. You know, we saw cars on the side of the road spun out, kind of fishtailing as they drive as well. So it really is not the best conditions at all to be driving. That's what we've heard before the storm and now during the storm as officials give their advice that hopefully people will take it and stay inside and get off the roads as soon as possible. But I also asked the commissioner of the Department of Transportation here in Connecticut what the plan is for the rest of the day and as they think about tomorrow morning too.
We're going to wait and see what the actual recovery and how much snow we can clear. The fact that the governor has issued a commercial truck ban starting at noon today is going to help us throughout the course of the night be able to clear the road. The intent of that was to try and put us in the best position possible in the morning The only uncertain factor is when is the snow going to end, and the mixture. It's going to begin to mix in some part of southern Connecticut with sleet, and that can make it a little slippier for us in the morning.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question as we head through the day today and into tomorrow in terms of what they can clean up, because we still have these bitterly cold temperatures. You see those flags flying and waving in the wind. That gives you a look at what has changed a bit here, at least in Darien, what we've seen, the wind pick up, and people, not too many people, but people, of course, coming off 95 to fill up their gas tanks. And hopefully we'll be able to speak with some of them in just a little bit to see where they're going and how the roads are right now. But we have been hearing and seeing the plows as they move through the major roadways, especially here along 95. Just everyone be safe, and honestly, just stay inside. It's extremely cold. Live in Darien, I'm Jessica Cunnington. Back to you two.
Okay, Jessica, thanks. And looking ahead here, New York City public school buildings are going to be closed tomorrow, but school will officially be remote, so not a traditional snow day. Mayor Mamdani told us we'd get an answer by noon. We got it just a little bit earlier. There it is. He also posted on his X account for high schoolers and students in grades 6 to 8 with a previously scheduled professional learning day. Tomorrow will remain a day off.
If you're planning to head out into the snowstorm, there is a transit update you need to know. Due to low visibility, some NYC ferry service will be suspended starting in just a few minutes at 11 this morning until further notice. The Staten Island ferry, though, is operating, though on a modified schedule. You're urged to consider alternate routes and, of course, allow for extra travel time.
Getting around is simply not easy. Taking a live look now at our area's 3 major airports. The airports heavily impacted by today's storm. Just look at these live cameras. You can barely make out the runways here. Nationwide, more than 10,000 flights are canceled. And we do have the latest cancellation and delay numbers we're seeing here at home. Right now, there are 17 delays at Newark. There are 895 cancellations. And this trend kind of continues at the other 2 major ones. LaGuardia, 25 delays. Again, 893 cancellations. JFK, 23 delays, 910 cancellations. So needless to say, the vast majority of flights out of the tri-state area are being canceled at this point. If you're still headed to the airport, make sure to check with your airline first. Some airlines are waiving change fees if you're changing your flight.
And we can see on some of those shots from the airports, the
see it.
visibility is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And part of that, Raph, is because the wind is picking up, right? And so the snow is just flying in every direction.
Sideways snow, that's what we see right now. Yeah,
joy.
Just one more thing to add to the
As though it weren't cold enough, right?
Yeah, we've got issues for sure. But we're taking a live look outside right now at the GWB. Put that over the radar so you can see the deeper blues representing the heavier snow, and that's exactly what you could see there. Visibility really cut down now, but you see people traveling the span anyway, regardless of the advice, but certainly dealing with some intense snow around Fort Lee and across the span into Washington Heights at this hour. And our reporters, Jess, Gabi, Dave Price, and Paisley, all dealing with that heavier snow now. You can see where they are on our radar, and they're all in the darker blues. So we're dealing with that moderate snowfall rates of 1 inch per hour coming down. And that's what we're seeing in the city. Live look downtown. Yeah, it's kind of pretty for Little Italy, but big flakes falling right now. And you can see the wind also pushing those flakes to the side of it. So it is quite nasty once you're out in it. Very cold, of course. As we've been saying, the wind chills are intense. Visibility, a quarter mile, even less in some spots. So that's that blanket of moderate snow all across the region right now, extending from Long Island, Islip down to a quarter of a mile. Even worse. And then as they head towards Philadelphia, still seeing moderate snow back along I-95. And these are the winds. They're finally showing up a bit. We're seeing these gusts now between 15 and 25 miles per hour, even a gust near 30 down the Jersey Shore. We've seen that snow blowing sideways in Seaside Heights as well. Live storm tracker 4, again, around the city. Lots of deeper blue here back along I-95 towards Philadelphia, Clinton, and into northwest New Jersey as well. You can see the different bands that we have going on. So northern Fairfield into upstate northern Connecticut, you can see some lighter snow, but then this deep blue here, that's that heavier snow band. They keep pushing in from the south to the north, and that's going to be the trend over the next several hours. A wider view here of the radar and satellite shows those temperatures still well below freezing all the way down the shore. That colder air really dominating the storm. New totals in Stamford, Fairfield County, 3.5 inches and adding up quickly there. So Connecticut starting to see some higher totals. Same story for the metro. Brooklyn now over 4 inches at Sheepshead Bay. We're seeing similar totals around 4-5 inches in places like Hudson County as well. And down the shore, 4 to 5 inches, Toms River, Little Egg Harbor, and the snow coming down pretty intensely there. Central Jersey, half a foot of snow now on the ground at White House Station, and many more hours of snow to go as you head towards Central Jersey and North Jersey as well. Over 5 inches now, Mahwah and High Point. And again, considering we have many more hours, especially where we're not going to see that mix take place, places like Northwest New Jersey, that's why we're expecting over a foot there. Totals across Long Island starting to add up as well, between 3 and 4 inches. Babylon, Syosset, and also Comac. You can see live storm tracker 4 shows that heavier snow in Fairfield County along I-95 and the Merritt. Still watching that reduced visibility there down the Jersey Shore. Again, this is going to be our first place to see that transition over to sleet. Nothing happening yet. Still plain snow for now, but it's not going to stay that way for much longer. Into Rockland County, Orange County, Spring Valley. Just north of 287, we are dealing with snow-covered roadways there. And last but not least, heading into Queens, still quite snowy in Forest Hills. All right, now Storm Team 4 meteorologist Violetta Yaz is here with a look at what's coming our way. Hey there, Vi.
Hey, Rafael. Yeah, that snow will continue to get heavier as we head towards the middle of the day. So steady, heavy snow on tap the next several hours as we wait and see when that change to sleet occurs. It's going to happen first for areas off to our south and west, but we'll continue to see that sleet line lift to the north little by little, but still have several more hours to go. Mostly just snow. Expect that dangerous travel right into Monday. Roads are going to be very slippery, especially those untreated roads, of course. Winds also pick up this afternoon to about 30 miles per hour. So as that snow is coming down heavily, expect the wind to bring visibility down. And then, of course, it has been already very, very cold, and that's going to continue. Highest snow totals north and west of the city, 18 plus possible in those typically colder spots here across parts of Sullivan, Ulster, and Orange County. 12 to 18 here, slicing across North Jersey through the Hudson Valley and Connecticut. 8 to 12 in and around the boroughs, and a little less here across central and southern New Jersey, where we'll see that sleet line develop a little bit more quickly. So again, a couple more